Baruch Habaim, Shalom friends. This morning I was studying a little bit of Shulchan Aruch, Jewish law, the code of Jewish law, and I was studying the laws of Tzitzits, just doing some review, and I actually thought this was very interesting and thought I'd share it. We talk about the Tzitzits, how are they made, how do we tie the knots in the Tzitzits, where do we get the amount of threads that wrap around, and how many knots? Where does this all come from? Well, this comes from Torah Shabbat Pei. So it begins to say it is the tzitzits, which it says here, the Torah refers to the tzitzits both as Gedalim, a braided tassel in Devarim 22, verse 12, and also as tzitzits, fringes in Bamidbar 15:8. And it says, we learn from this that the tzitzits tassel must consist both of a braided portion and a portion of free hanging strings. Okay, and the measurements and the length of these proportions are rabbinic origin. So, especially those that are against Torah Shabbat Pei, the oral Torah, and Sola Scriptura, but you're wearing tzitzits, you gotta ask yourself, did you make the tzitzits or did you purchase the tzitzits? And if you made them, how did you make them? Without what ruling did you use to make the knots and the threads? Where did you get your info from? Or if you're wearing them and you don't support oral Torah, how can you explain how the knots are done? And this is just something to think about. But we see it is from the rabbis, and it is the custom to make the tzitzits, making the tzitzits tassel 5 sets of double knots, creating between them 4 links, spaces between the knots that are filled by wound strings. So here we go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knots and 8 strings. Okay, and so it goes on to explain that one inserts the 4 strings into the hole so that half the hole of each string hangs from one side of the hole and half from the other side, and all 8 strings are hanging from the hole. So really you're using 4 strings, but going through the loop and hanging on both sides becomes 8 strings. He then ties them together with 2 knots, treating the 4 ends on the one side as one unit and the 4 on the other as one unit, and tying the 2 sides together in a double knot. He then winds with the long string referred to as the shamash, 7 revolutions around the other 7 strings. Okay, so there's one string that's a little bit longer called the shamash, where we even call the shamash candle on Hanukkah that lights all the other candles. And that's the master, the server. And then ties all 8 strings again with another 2 knots. This completes the first link. He then winds the shamash another 8 revolutions around the other strings and ties the 2 more knots to complete the second link. He then winds the shamash 11 revolutions and ties another 2 knots to complete the third link. He then winds the shamash around for a final of 13 revolutions and ties 2 more knots, completing the fourth and final link. These are now 4 links surrounded by 5 sets of double knots. So if you really look here, you have 2 knots up here, and if you count the strings wound here, there's 7 here. And the next set is actually 8. The next set is 11. and the next set is 13. But what's even more amazing is if you take the first two revolutions, so the 7 and 8, this equals 15, which is the first half of Hashem's name. And then you have 11, so 15 plus 11 equals 26, the full name of Hashem. And then the last, you have 13 revolutions, which 13 is the numerical value for Echad, 1. And so we're literally binding to Hashem's name. I thought that was pretty cool. Just thought I'd share it with everybody. May everybody have a great week. Shavua Tov. I hope you like this little study. I just share what I learn and what I like. So may you all be blessed. Baruch Hashem. Shavua Tov.